I blocked my parents, my family on my phone, on WhatsApp, telling them I feel disappointed, there's no reason for me to continue living. And I had reduced my contacts from the many contacts I had, about 700 contacts, to 15. And I didn't even know why those 15 were still on my phone. This April, I'd even gone to Facebook, deleted most of my pictures. I remember I even went to TikTok, deleted some images. I just felt like I'm now going to end my life. I wanted to end my life so badly. I'm such a happy soul, realizing that people could put things on hold, on standstill, just to make sure this lady survives. Because who am I? Who am I to be alive today to them? If I had died on that vehicle, these guys would have trended for the wrong reasons. I was sure it would have been a story. So that thing lingered in my mind. I was like, what if something had happened to me? Why don't I just appreciate these people for the good thing they did? I'm Viola Nekesa Wanjala. I'm a mother of two beautiful boys, 5 and 2. I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a cousin to many, I'm a friend, I'm a colleague at work. But basically, I'm someone who's very passionate about just doing the right thing at the right time. And I'll say that is one thing that has brought me to this place, having been on the airwaves for, let's say, a week, trending for for reasons that I wouldn't have thought of. So many have been seeing a post going viral about a lady who had a medical emergency on her way home and being saved by matatu crew people, decided to do a gratitude post that went viral. So having not planned it, but God working in his own ways, made the post go nationwide. I would say it's even the whole world, because I'm sure once it's in the media, it's everywhere. So we have been on the media for quite some time, and I'm grateful that I've been given another chance to come give the story of what transpired and also share part of my life and the journey that has taken me through this episode that made me to even go public and everything. So I'm very grateful to people who are there to assist. I'm grateful to God to having given me another opportunity. Those who have been my friends and have my WhatsApp contacts, they will know the statement, God of second chances, has been there for years. I'll say, I'll change, bring it back. If it's not God of second chances, it's God of many chances. But just to encourage you, it's that it has become practical to me. I was given another second chance to life. So to everyone that saw my story, please know that regardless of what you go through, He's a God of second chances. Maybe once you listen to me, you'll now have more reasons to be grateful. And always learn to be grateful, because it's the reason that I trended. Being able to say thank you when someone does good to you is the reason I'm sitting here. The smallest reason that anyone can ever imagine. It's because I said thank you. And I did not say it by only word of mouth. I posted it and appreciated those people and named them by their names. It's the reason we're here. I'm so grateful to everyone. So on this Friday, the Friday that got the incident and people knowing that I had become sick. So the event day was that Friday evening. But as a normal day, I woke up prepared to go to work. And you have heard from the interviews, I said I stay alone. Purpose which I'll later reveal as to why I ended up staying alone. So this Friday, I woke up as a normal day, went to work at around 9:10. But basically, I'm supposed to be in the office at around, by 8, I'm supposed to be seated and working as always. But on this day, I felt I'm not myself. So I woke up at around 6, prior to me waking up at 5:30 preparing, because I was having some headache. So the whole night I had this constant headache. It was not going out. It was not going. So I took some painkillers. I think the effect of the painkillers made me sleep a bit and woke up a bit late. So I prepared myself and went to the office quite late. I wasn't in a hurry because still the head was still pounding from afar. And that, you see that when you have a headache, then you're trying to get it stable. So this headache was on my temporals on the side. So every time I experience this headache on the temple, it's quite severe compared to normal. I don't know how the other headache sounds, but this mine I usually feel it's too much. So I was doing things slowly, but by around 10, I'd already reached the office. So I work in Westlands for a certain company. So when I get to the office, just like a normal day, but everything was slow. Things were moving very slowly to me because now I was trying to catch up. I couldn't even take breakfast. I took my breakfast at around 12, almost midday, just trying to make sure things are flowing. So all this time I was just taking water, warm water. It works for me in the morning. So by around 1:30 when people are doing their lunch, I'd carried my lunch. Sometimes I do prefer carrying lunch than buying, so that I can just have what my heart wants. So I went to the fridge, the office fridge, wanted to take my lunch. Then I felt like I don't even have the appetite. Got back to my desk, made a few calls to clients, normal work schedule. But around 2:30, heading to 3, the headache came back a bit much than just the same way it started in the morning at around 3 there. So I decided, let me not take my lunch because I don't even have the appetite. That 1 hour for lunch, I compensate it and go earlier, like leave work earlier and go home. So by exactly 4, it was around 4:10, I closed my office, everything I was doing, and decided to leave the office. I hadn't shared with anyone that I wasn't feeling well, but throughout the whole week, it has not been smooth for me because I was just up and about and feeling like my body is not just the same. But I knew it's just a normal day, like normal things that happen. So I left the office, boarded the matatu to town. So when we were getting to this, is it Ngara Junction or something, when you're just entering town, I noticed I was feeling like I'm having a flu. You see that point you feel like your throat is itchy, you feel like there's some sore throat or something. So I was feeling that way and I felt like my ears are blocking. I usually feel that when a flu is coming. So we were in conversation with my mom and I told my mom, I'm feeling like a flu is coming, but we had spoken and I'd actually taken a leave that Friday. I wanted this leave to be, I go to the hospital, normal just body checkup, and also travel to the village to go see my parents and my kids who stay there. So I told my mom, because I've taken leave for almost a whole week, let me go pick some things in town so that I can be able to come with them to the village on Saturday. So I was to travel on Saturday. But as Viola has always been, I'll tell my mom this day, but I travel a day prior for a surprise visit. So I told my sister, elder sister who stays in Malindi. So I told her that, is there anything that you want me to get for you? I'm going to buy some clothes, shoes just for the kids so that I can buy in wholesale because our kids are almost the same age. So if I buy this, it will be quite cheaper. Kenyans just being Kenyans. So I alighted at a commercial stage around Koja, went into a chemist nearby, took some Cetirizine and some painkillers. So the headache had not gone away, but I was just trying to control it so that it doesn't spoil my moods. I went to a few shops, bought some things and realized I wasn't getting the things I wanted. So I called back again my mom and told her, let me go to Isili because at Isili it will be maybe more cheaper and I can get variety to choose from. So I boarded the matatu to Isili, funny enough. I walked up to Luthuli and got a matatu to Isili. So when I lighted, it's when I noticed that, hey, my body is just weak. I tried to move around to the shops, but I couldn't. The dizziness was not going away. Every time I'm walking, I feel like someone is calling me from afar. I could hear like some echoes. It's like in a vacuum. So my ears are just feeling like they're already occupied. You see, it really happens when maybe you're in a swimming pool, then water gets into your ear. So you just feel like some movements, but not like you're sick or anything. So I dragged myself. Actually, I literally dragged myself, pulling my shoes to an extent that by the time the incident happened and we got to hospital, my shoe was already torn because I was pulling, it was a sandal, and I was trying to make my legs walk because they couldn't walk. They felt so heavy. I felt like my heart was beating fast. But by the time we got to town, on the way, at least I felt like the hot chills had subsided. So when we alighted at around Kimathi Street, immediately I got from that matatu, I just felt like some flashes on that headache came with a bang. I just felt like one side of my head has become heavy and I could touch the nerves here. So the nerves had already portrayed on my temporals. I called a motorbike person to come pick me from where the matatu was. I couldn't even move to the guy. So when this guy came, I told him, take me to Railways, Naivas supermarket around there. So when this matatu bus came, I didn't have hopes of getting into it because I'm not a fan of nganya, those matatus, because already I had this headache. And I also feel like mostly in the evenings when I'm coming from work, I just want a quiet place. So when it came, I noticed, if I continue standing here, I might collapse because I knew this is a sign of fainting or something. I'm leaning on the wall, but I can't even speak that to someone because I'm just feeling dizzy. My head is going round and round. The dizziness was becoming very much. And those echoes in my ear, I could struggle to hear the movements of people or even the people making noise in town. You know how the noises match, but to me, the noise was not there. People are talking from afar. So when it came, I moved closer to it, but I wasn't in a hurry to get in because there were so many people struggling. So there was this man, actually is the one who made it possible for me to enter the matatu. Because he turned back and I just moved in. Me and my small body, I just moved under when he raised his hand and he turned back, I just caved myself in and went and sat immediately the first seat near the door, the ones that the conductors usually sit. So it was at that point that I noticed, the headache was the one that was very, very, very much. But there was nothing I could do. I was just taking water. I usually walk around with a bottle of water. So I was just taking water. The matatu left Nairobi town. We were past. There's this church around Haile Selassie when you're leaving town. We passed that church. Then I noticed the sweat was coming. I was sweating. My heart was beating. So I removed my sweater. I had a jumper on. I removed the jumper. I was seated next to a lady. So when we were approaching the Bunyala roundabout, things were getting messy. Apart from sweating, I was shaking. So my hands were trembling. So I'm trying to open a conversation. Actually, I was chatting to a friend of mine who later was like, you mean we were chatting and you were dying? You couldn't even tell me you were sick. Because the last conversation, the person texted me, I could not reply. I was trying to reply. I think if I replied, it went, I don't know, just letters or something, but not a conversation. So this lady noticed I was shaking and I was gasping for air. So I was like, you see that time you feel an asthma person. People are asthmatic. I usually sit with people who are asthmatic, which I'm not. So I was trying to gasp air, but it was not coming in. I couldn't take a normal breathe in and out. So this girl tapped me and she asked me, are you okay? I told her somehow. So I told her, kindly call my mom. I just put my password and told her to call my mom. And she asked, what do I tell her? I told her, tell her I'm not feeling well. So we were now approaching Nyayo roundabout. I told her, tell her I'm not feeling well. I don't know if I'll go to the hospital in Rongai. I don't know if she called. I can't even remember. Because by then, I'd already tapped these guys on the door to open the window that was a bit hard for me to open. I told them to give me air. So I remember them telling, songa, 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 kuna mtu anataka hewa. Move. So by then, Telvi now got the attention. And I told him, could you like tell the bus driver to reduce the volume? It's getting into my ears. Because I felt like I'm in a noisy place, in a place that is very distracted. I was sweating. I was gasping for air. I was trembling and shaking. By then, they'd even stopped to pick more passengers at Nyayo stage. So when we passed the Nyayo stage and went some few kilometers, maybe a kilometer or two, I noticed now it's becoming too much. So I tapped a certain guy, not even Telvin. A certain guy was there and told him, can you people tell the driver to take me to the hospital? I can't breathe. So the whole vehicle now took attention because those guys started tapping the bus to stop because it was moving. So when I think the driver was trying to know what is happening. The guys alighted from the vehicle. Like a couple of guys alighted and went to the driver because I could see things, but they were blurry. I was completely starting to lose my vision. Things were they were very blurry and not clear. So I could see people, but I couldn't tell who is who. which color you're wearing. So by then it's when I remember, I don't know how they managed to convince the driver to turn the vehicle. And he only reversed because he couldn't turn completely because we were on a different route. We were heading to Rongai. So they can't turn and use another way to head to town. So the driver, I don't know how he reversed the vehicle. That's the last thing I remember until when I remember when we got to the hospital, I remember the bus stopped. I could tell the bus has stopped somewhere. And people were shouting, kuna mtu mgonjwa, please, where is the emergency, emergency, emergency. People are shouting, emergency, those guys. And I'm really grateful for those guys because they were really shouting and creating a scene. Someone is sick. Tavi is the one who even told me they carried me to that because I don't remember how I walked. I never alighted from. The last thing I could remember, people were pulling me from that seat. The guys, I don't know if the guys or the ladies, I don't know who did that. They pulled me from that seat and got me to the emergency wing on that bed. Later is when I woke up and saw Telvin. I couldn't even tell who he is. And he was asking me, password, your phone password. So I was like, I couldn't even tell who is this, your phone password, your phone password. I don't know if I put a fingerprint or I spoke the words or the numbers. I can't remember. But I gave him access because it's through that access that the rest of the things he was able to operate. I don't know how he called my mom. I don't know how he called my dad. But I have many contacts on my emergency call. I don't know how he was able to. There's so many things that Telvin did. There's so many things that if I was to say thank you, I think I'll have to do it every day. Because that was 8 p.m. Around 8:30 that those things were happening. But you can imagine waking up at around 11 because I was subconscious and all those tests that were done. So by the time I woke up, I saw some things on my body, my chest. I don't know how they managed to I don't know. I can't even tell how these people did everything to make sure I was resuscitated, or I don't know what happened. I don't know how they got to get me back to speak or even open my eyes and identify someone seated here. And I remember one thing, that when I opened my eyes clearly and now could speak, I asked Telvin, where are my luggages? Because I remembered I had bought some things. I asked, where is my luggage and where is my phone? And I couldn't even remember that I'd given him my phone because I saw this was a stranger. But I could remember that his friends had asked him, let's go. They tapped him to tell him, let's go. And he said, I can't even leave this person here alone. So all this time we were speaking in Swahili and Sheng. I could hear them saying, I can't leave these guys, you just go. Tutasort, that's what they said, tutasort. And that's how I remained with Telvin until midnight. And actually I could have remained there on an admission, I don't know for how many days. But when Telvin asked me, actually it's not Telvin, the doctors told Telvin to go and pay so that they can start treatment. And Telvin looked at me and asked me, do you have SHA or NHIF or something? And I told him I have an insurance. I told him the name of the insurance. And they asked if I know my member number. Do you know I couldn't remember? I couldn't remember my member number. So they told him to call the insurance. And he asked me, do you have a number of someone I can call to give us your member number? I told him, I don't know any number. I don't know any person. So there's this particular time, some things are just funny. There's this particular time, I gave 3 names, but Telvin searched on my contact list. Those names were never existing. I'd not saved those people. But I remember I've saved because these are my colleagues at the office. But he searched on those contacts. I have like 2 SIM cards on my phone. None of them was appearing with those names. So he said, Viola, hakuna. So, he was calling me V. Hakuna hizo majina. So I told him, Abu enda kwa Truecaller. So because I knew I can kwa Truecaller, he could get, the names could appear. So he went to the Truecaller and got the name of the insurance. I told him, call the insurance. And was like, what do I tell them? Tell them you're the guardian for Viola. You want to know her member number. I could hear him being asked full names. He looks at me. I tell him the name. Then he was asked, which company? He looks at me, which company? I tell the name. Until now he was able to fill in an outpatient claim form. for treatment to begin and give access for treatment. So by that time, we were at least, I was now able to talk, and I could even afford to look someone and stare in the eyes. I would say I was much alive than dead previously. So that's how we got to call the insurance. Sorry, and I told them to process my transfer. I want to go to Sinai Hospital. And I remember the doctor asking, why do you want to go to Sinai? I said, that is like my family hospital. They have my history. And they said, but we can also treat you. Which history? Do you have any medical maybe condition that you have? I said, I don't have a medical condition, long term, or maybe a pre-existing condition. I don't have, but I just want to go there. Because in my mind, what was running in my mind is that no family is around. So what if my brother wants to come and visit? And I remember Telvin told me, my brother was sick. He was down with the flu. So when Telvin had called him to come, because the number was appearing so many times, the names. I think by this, something that Telvin did was to call the numbers that were appearing so many times. Because the people that he contacted, I later on checked on my phone, these are people I had called minutes ago. So he called my brother and told him, your sister is in hospital. Could you come? My brother, actually it was raining in Rongai. Told him that I cannot come. I'm not well. I'm not feeling well, but I'll come very early in the morning. He's just a 20-year-old boy. So Telvin decided, how can I now leave and just abandon you? And that's how he ended up staying. And we came to Sinai. And I don't even remember. I don't know, the drugs are very heavy on me. I don't know, I remember, but that's how we ended up till morning in that hospital. So when I woke up in the morning and I saw Telvin asked me, are you okay? Are you okay? We go home. That's what he said. Are you okay now? We can go home. Because he could see a smile. He could see a smile on my face, and I looked like someone who had maybe has enough strength. Do you want to go home? What do you want? So when I saw Telvin, I asked him, you didn't go home. So ningeenda nikuache. That's what he said. So he wanted me to go and leave you here. And I just smiled and was just holding my hands, telling me, you'll be fine. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Your mom was worried, but I told her yesterday not to bother. I'm here with you. And even asked about my names. I even shared my number. So he was telling he even shared his number to my mom in case my phone went off or something happened and he could not access my phone again. So that morning, I told him, you need to go. I'm okay. The nurses will take care of me. So I told him, you need to go. And he said, I can't leave you like this until your brother comes. But I told him, no, you have to go. You just go rest, sleep, take a shower, then you can come back later. So he left me, and before he left, I told him, please give me the numbers of the driver. I was continuously telling Telvin, thank you. I don't know how many times I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I kept on telling him, thank you for saving my life, thank you. I'll give you a call. And I knew, in my head, I was like, will I even do it? Will I even remember to do it? So I told him, save your number on my phone and save your number and add matatu so that I can remember. And I told him, send me a picture of that matatu and the driver's name before he left. And those are the details he gave me before he left. So the doctors came and started treatment again until at around 10 a.m. in the morning that I decided, let me now, I had enough energy by then to even hold my phone and maybe write. So I went to my WhatsApp, wrote a couple of messages, deleting. I kept on writing things. Then I was like, it's not enough. It's not what I want to say. So I write, then I'm like, no, it's not making sense. I need to add something, I need to remove. I remember I drafted like 3 messages, deleting. And I went to my WhatsApp story and status and posted. Then it was at this point that I remembered I don't have Ben's number, the driver. And also this matatu, let me just post it. So I decided, let me now post it on Ngatarongai place to be. So I went and searched for this page. I'm a member, but I couldn't even tell the last names of this page because there are a couple of them. And I decided, let me post on this too. But when I posted on one, something told me to delete. I need to add something. And I think I'd put a number, then something told me to delete their numbers. And I went back and posted again on now this page that trended. So I just posted and put my phone off, actually on flight mode, and I never touched my phone again until evening that day. So I was like, something that was running in my mind, if I had died on that vehicle, these guys would have trended for the wrong reasons. I was sure it would have been a story. So that thing lingered in my mind. I was like, what if something had happened to me? Why don't I just appreciate these people for the good thing they did? Let people know that these are the people. Because something also I remembered was, this was a full matatu that had people. So people might be telling those stories to do you know someone fell sick on matatu? We went to Nairobi West Hospital. So those things were running in my mind. And I remembered I reached a point I was like, let me post it on Facebook. That was what triggered me to post it on Facebook. Because I'm sure if it was still on my WhatsApp, it wouldn't have gone viral. Because it's the Facebook story that later, at around 6 when I saw it, it was having 500 likes. Was it 500 likes and over 100, 200 comments? I didn't know that I would sleep, wake up in the morning, it was all over. Now that was the shocker that I'm still recovering from. That you'll wake up and see it's all over. Me posting, there's no viral thing that was in my mind or it's trending. That was, obviously I knew I wasn't going to trend. It has never flipped in my mind that I'll trend for something. So for me, it was just an appreciation post, like from the bottom of my heart, because I didn't even have the money to appreciate them. They can tell you I never did anything those 2 days, those time I was in the hospital. I didn't have the money to give them things. Something was telling me, just give what you have. But I felt like, let me first post it. Then when I'm out of hospital, I can give them something. Because I was trying to see, if I give this person 1,000 shillings, if I give them 500 shillings, was it equivalent to what they had done? So to me, the appreciation on Facebook, I knew it will spark something in them. If maybe they were on Facebook, I never knew if Telvin is on Facebook or anything. Actually, by the time Telvin commented, this thing had already gone viral the whole day. He saw it later when people are telling him, Sujui, he's trending. The driver even never knew about it because his phone is not even on WhatsApp, on Facebook. He doesn't have an Android phone. So he never even knew. Even till now, I was telling him we are still trending on TikTok and other platforms. He's like, aki hata hizo ni nini, mimi sijui. So trending was not any of the reasons that I made that post. Because I'm sure people have made posts even better than, and it's not like there was anything fascinating. To me, there was nothing fascinating about the post apart from the appreciation. And the picture of matatu, you could see there was no picture of me there. People later got the pictures from my Facebook and other platforms that I'm in, but I posted the matatu only. And not even Telvin's picture, not even anyone's. For me, it was the matatu because I knew people will resonate with the matatu because they had boarded it that night. One thing that people don't know is that that week was really hard for me. And while we were on that matatu, when things were getting worse and escalating so fast, one thing I knew is that I was going to die or something bad will happen to me. That is what was in my mind because I'll tell you, that whole week, I'll say that was the second week, I was envisioning accidents, that I'm involved in an accident. So that night, I'll tell you why all this was happening, like the accident things. So for me, I knew this was a confirmation that I was going to die because the accident thing, I've ever been in a situation that you're seeing things like yourself. I would see myself in an accident, bleeding. People have rescued me. I would see either a family member, one of my family members, like a picture will just come into my mind and I see myself in a bus. So actually when I was that whole week and even the previous week, I was avoiding buses. I would take matatus only. In fact, these old matatus, because I felt like the drivers will drive it like professionally. Because I was fearing that our bus the vehicle I was using was involved in an accident and I was critically ill or my parents were coming to see me in hospital. I was sick because of the accident. So when I was making that post and I saw it going viral, I remembered all these things. When I could see it's now trending and everything. Then I was telling God, is this the reason I was seeing accidents in my mind? So every time I was going back to Facebook and watching the post, more likes, more comments, more likes, more shares. To me, it was a confirmation that it was just the opposite of the story. And to me, I felt an urge of, I don't know how to say it, but I felt really relieved because I'd given a testimony, because I'm someone who believes in giving testimony. And even seeing it later on Nairobi Gossip with over 100 people, to me, it was already a confirmation that I'd already defeated what the enemy had. And I was feeling like this testimony, God, because I gave this testimony, I've already decided to make it viral on Facebook. I didn't know about the Nairobi Gossip and other platforms. On Facebook only, I felt relieved. On that hospital bed, I was feeling like I was ready to go home. To me, if the doctors would have told me, how are you feeling? I told them I'm healed, let me go home. There was that satisfying feeling that people are talking about Telvin, people are talking about Bena, people are talking about the matatu. People are saying, hey, you decided to even appreciate. Thank you. So many people. Telvin has done good things for people they don't appreciate. Sujui Benson Kana won the best driver in the last Nganya Awards. He was number 3. So to me, I was like, so I've just opened up a conversation. So that was the very satisfying bit of it. That now there's a conversation and people are talking because of my post. To everyone who was in that matatu, I remember Telvin telling me something on that bed. That, do you know you commanded the whole bus on standstill? What is happening? Munatupeleka? Like everyone was asking, you guys, are you trying to get a shortcut or something? There's no traffic. Because everyone was amazed. What is happening? Everyone was shocked. What was happening? So they're trying to get a story. Someone is sick. Are they dying? Until now, when they saw the bus turning and taking me to the hospital, that's when it dawned on them that this was very, very critical. And I've been so grateful, and I wish I could just meet each and every person on that vehicle. I've seen some comments, people saying I was in that matatu, and I'll go back and DM them and tell them, thank you so much for even being there and just giving support. Because those people, like, I could hear them saying, oh, Dere Arakisha. There are so many things people are saying, because they could see bit by bit I was going. And the fact that I was even subconscious. But to me, my heart goes out to them. And all I can tell them, thank you so much for being in one accord and just deciding to stand there and getting home late. I knew they were. If someone was anticipating to be home in 20 minutes, it would have taken double. Because I would say, until I was dropped and everything of mine was maybe dropped and to the hospital, the bus was still there. And everyone now went home with a different feeling. If people are happy and everything, they're going home with mixed feelings. What has happened? What has happened to that girl? Did she make it? Yes, I made it. And that's why I'm even here to thank you. Because if you had said no on that bus, if people had, you know the way Kenyans support each other. If people could have said no, you can't turn the vehicle. We have paid our transport, we want to go home. Drop her there, let her pick a matatu or a cab or maybe a motorbike. They would have suggested such things. And even to the driver, just deciding, should I turn, should I not turn? It must have been godly. I'll say everyone that was in that vehicle, it was God who had purposed for them to be there so that they can be understanding. Because it only takes one misunderstanding person to convince every other person that the opinion is null and void, or we should not do it. But for them, God planned that every understanding person was to board that vehicle. And every emotional person with the emotional intelligence and support was supposed to be there. So that together they may decide and support the driver to even take me there. And even later post on Facebook, how are you feeling? Because most people even asking me about how I'm feeling, they're telling me they were in that bus. You are wearing this and this clothes. And I'm like, by the time you realize I was having this and this, you must have been there. I'm more than grateful. And I'll clap for you 1,000 times and tell you, you're even superheroes. You're the most grateful people I've ever seen that will even stand out for me. I'm such a happy soul, realizing that people could put things on hold, on standstill, just to make sure this lady survives. Because who am I? Who am I to be alive today to them? Do I have that impact? What impact am I bringing to them by being alive? I don't know them. They don't know me. So if things would have gone maybe even bad for me on that vehicle, just like any other death, they could have even forgotten about it right now. But I know right now they're happy souls knowing that they supported life. And I'll tell them something. If you have that one prayer that you've been requesting, go back to God and tell them, because I supported someone to be alive, because I'm the reason this person is alive, do it for me. Because I don't think I made a lot of sense to them, because they didn't even know my story. They didn't know I have kids, I have parents, or I have anyone. By them just supporting I'll say a stranger, that they never thought they'll meet again or even see again, and deciding maybe we have had so many deaths, let's remain alive, let this person live again. It makes me emotional and feel like people love me. The haters I have, or the people who don't love me, cannot be matched to the love I've gotten and to the love I received from people in that vehicle. Even that lady who was sitting next to me, I wish I meet her. I wish I just meet her and appreciate her for calling my mom. I confirmed later that she called. Yes, she called my mom. She's the one who gave my luggages and said this was her sweater, this was the pastor she was sitting with. Because imagine all those things were new clothes. They would have taken them very new, and even her size was there because there were very beautiful things in that bag. But I could have imagined if it was just those people that were not supposed to be on that vehicle, who would have been. Someone would have just stayed with that bag. Someone would just have stayed with that jumper. It was a very nice jumper. Someone would have just remained with my phone. Because, someone can say, she entered the bus, I didn't start with anything. A normal person who is not doing what we are supposed to do as maybe Christians or as a sober person would have said, I didn't start with anything. This is not her phone. Or even they would not even have asked, did she have anything? The main reason or the main thing was to get her to the hospital. Her luggages, she would come and claim them later, or even ask the matatu, this was the matatu I used to wear my things. It would have been another story. But waking up and finding your things intact, thank you so much to that lady. I had told myself I want to be a human being, a normal human being who has emotions, because I've been strong for so long. Because when you ask about Viola, it trickles down the memory lane from way back when I started schooling, campus life, high school, even I've been married before. So many people are asking, why is it that you never mentioned the marriage life? You're talking about kids, family, and everything. We never heard about husband. But I'm like, if you knew what Viola has been through, it's a story of resilience. It's a story of sacrifice. It's a story of getting yourself together, collecting the broken pieces. 29 years of my life, I've lived to be one person who is very unpredictable when it comes to normal challenges of life. When people expect me to break down, I don't. I show a lot of strength. And when I'm supposed to show strength, when I'm alone is when I really break down. It has been a rough year this past few years, let's say from when I finished high school. I've lived in Langata. My dad was a KDF, just retired a year ago. So I've lived there for about 27 years, ever since I was 2 years. So we have grown up to be, I'm a third born. I'll say I'm a third born of 7 kids. The third lady, 3 ladies, then 4 boys behind me. And I'll say I've grown to take my father's strength. And people usually say, like, Viola, you are a bully. They take me, I'm a very, I'll say, I'm a very strict person. I'm a very strict person. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's not something I want to laugh about, I won't laugh. I don't pretend. I give you heads on, unless I know it will break down. When I know you're a person who breaks down with maybe something that is not, you want to be pampered, I'll pamper you, but later I'll tell you, do you know it was not funny. So I'm that person who would make people feel like, oh, you're being harsh, you're bullying this person. But later these people realize, oh, now I know you. So it's not what you are showing me. Later they understand there's a soft spot about me. And I'll say, after high school, I'll take you down to the memory lane that after high school, 3 years after high school, I had a baby who I lost. I got pregnant when I was in campus. I gave birth a week later. I'm someone who's into politics. I love politics so much. So there was this particular time, some years back, I was in a campaign team, and I was a youth leader in that campaign. Then while we were waiting for the person who was campaigning for the gubernatorial seat in Western, I noticed I was pregnant by then. So I noticed some water was coming out of me. And my mom happened to be in that political arena, that meeting. So she took me for an emergency, went to the hospital immediately. So while in the hospital, they never realized what the problem was. So after like 3 days of being in hospital, things got worse and they decided to do a cesarean to save either me or the baby. So they saved both of us, luckily. But on this particular day, the exact 7th day after I had given birth, while I was sleeping at around 4, my baby was in a nursery because it was 7 months. I'd given birth earlier, a preterm. So when the baby was in this hospital in Western, a very good hospital. So I would go every normal day because I can't breastfeed. I would go pump some milk, use some syringes to give to the baby. So on this particular day, the 7th day after I'd given birth to this baby, I went at around 5 a.m. in the morning and gave milk to the baby as usual, put him back to sleep. Then I went back to the ward to continue sleeping because it was around 5. It was when I was still sleeping that I was having a dream that the hospital had caught fire and people were rescuing their kids. So I went to this room and picked my kid who was still alive. He was a bouncing baby boy, a very handsome boy. So I remember I picked my boy with one hand and my mom was behind me. And I remember I was passing the baby to my mom, but I told her one of my hands had caught fire, the cloth I was wearing. So I remember one of my hands had caught fire. It was in the dream. So I was telling my mom, take the kid so that I can like remove the sweater because I could realize my hand was burning. So when I was stretching my hand, I didn't realize kumbe I was stretching it to someone who was calling me. Someone had raised my hand to call me. I don't know how it happened. So my hand was up, but someone was tapping me. Wake up, wake up. So I woke up and she was like, matron is calling you. The matron is the person who was in the kids neonatal unit where the kids are, the preterm babies are. Something funny that had happened a prior night, this matron was new to me. So that was the first day I was meeting her. So we bumped into each other when I was opening the door and she was coming in. So we bumped into each other and I remember her telling me, oh, just be careful. She asked me, what is wrong? Abu kuwa makini. So me bumping to each other had caused me like ile kushtuka. You're shocked. And it was just a normal affair. I went back. So when this lady told me we were being called by the matron, I went to the room. While seated, I moved my eyes around and I noticed my baby was not in the incubator. So I started shivering and asked her, where is my baby? I can't see my baby. So she was trying to explain to me what has happened. I told her, before you tell me anything, just tell me where baby Viola is. In the neonatal, when I've given birth, they don't immediately give the child, so they call by the mother's name. So I asked her, just tell me where baby Viola. I don't want the other stories. Utaniambia baadaye. So she told me that, the baby was still learning how to breathe. So I don't know. I didn't even listen to the story. I told her, I had already now, emotions were running high. Tears already coming out. And remember, in the hospital, I'd stayed with my mom throughout the day I was admitted, because after the first day I got into an admission. I'd stayed with her because this hospital was far from home. Until it happened that Thursday, when the incident was happening, the previous Wednesday, my dad had come from Somalia. So he used to be in Somalia when the KDF had the Somalia issue, the Al-Shabaab issue. So that Wednesday, my dad had flew to come to the village to see me. So that Wednesday, my dad had come, my sister, and my mom. So my mom told me, let me go back because your dad is going back tomorrow to Nairobi. It was just a pass. A pass is basically 3 or 4 days off. So he needs to go back to Nairobi to prepare for something. So she told me, let me go home with them. So I was left alone. So when the nurse was trying to explain to me that your baby could not make, I didn't even want to listen. She pointed where my baby was. Apparently, my baby was dead. I remember I rushed into that room. So my baby covered the whole face with a lasso, the wrap that the baby was having in the incubator. I've never cried all my life that I cried that day. I remember it's like I went mad. I came back I took my baby. I remember I took my baby, tried to pump the baby to come back to life. I didn't believe like the baby was gone. The other babies who were dead were also lying there, like 3 of them. But I took my baby and wrapped. I didn't care if to me, the baby didn't look dead. So I was busy pumping this baby to come back to life. Then when I turned the baby's back, I noticed the baby's purplish, purple, greenish. Then the face was very yellow. Then it hit me, the baby was dead. I did not even cover him back. I just kept him back to that car room that they had been kept. Ran outside crying, screaming. Went into the ward crying, screaming. People were trying to get what has happened. Within few minutes, I was already out of the hospital gate. This hospital has a mortuary beside it. So what was going to, I had not even called anyone in my family. So something told me, you need to go with your baby. So I saw vehicles were coming in because there's a roundabout there. So something was telling me, nigongwe tuna gari, nikimbie. So inaniambia, like something is telling you clearly, time this vehicle. That was all in my mind. Even the crying had stopped. Something telling me, time this vehicle. Hii inakuja ndio iko na speed, ndio inaweza kugonga vizuri ukufe. Na kitu inaniambia that the mortuary is just beside. So I could even see the caskets and coffins outside. So I could see a baby's casket. I could see like a grown-up casket. So what was in my mind is that I get knocked with the vehicle, but before I get knocked with the vehicle, before I die, I tell them I want this color of the casket. But then, I don't know, someone came and asked, they took me back. I got the strength to call my mother and told her, Mom, kama ungeenda mtoto wangu angekufa. Now I shifted the blame to my mom. I felt like if she was around, she could have done something. I remember my mom screaming, asking me what has happened. Nikamwambia tu, Mom, kujeni juu nakufa. Naenda na mtoto wangu. I wanted to go. Nothing else could have made sense that time. So I remember all this period of mourning. My kid was buried the same day because he's still very young, small. But those 3 months were the hardest months of my life. Because I almost went mad. I sank into depression. And funny enough, one of my sisters was pregnant at that time. So when my sister gave birth, when I went back home, she was even supposed to give birth earlier than me because I was months behind her. So when I used to see my sister's kid, I confessed to her later how much I wanted to kill her child. Because I could see, why did her child survive? Why mine? I'm the youngest. Why did I do? I was in depression until they decided to I come back in Nairobi because my sister was in the village. She had gone to give birth in the village. So that anger, I used to go to my kid's grave, cry. It took me years. That was back in 2017. Took me years. I went back to normal life. But the memories are always fresh in my mind. I remember every time I go to Facebook, I have a picture of my kid. That is the only picture I have about my child. When it was like a day or two. Every time I go there, the memories start afresh. But years passed. So in 2019, I got married. And that's how I moved into Rongai. Because my ex-husband lives in Rongai. So coming to Rongai in 2020, when COVID kicked in, I was pregnant. And one thing that actually I was telling TikTok family the other day is that I hate the month of April. I used to hate the month of April. Because it's in April that my child died. It's in April that my first kid, the one who's alive, I started having complications with my pregnancy again. Almost the same weeks. I could say my child was buried on 27th of April. But from 11th of April, I usually have issues, either at work, personal life, or anything. Every time it sets into April, I start having issues. It reminds me of bad memories. So during COVID in April, I started having issues again. I went into an emergency cesarean, gave birth my baby at 8 months here in Sinai. And something happened after I gave birth. When I gave birth, immediately after birth, it was during the COVID-19 season, the 7 p.m. curfew. So it was only my husband who was around. Things happened that the baby got into an emergency, had to be put on oxygen. I also got into emergency. I needed oxygen. The whole hospital did not have an oxygen mask for a grown-up. They were supposed to be dispatched the same day, but something delayed. So here I am. My husband tells me I was holding his hand. He was the one holding my hand after, immediately 20 minutes after birth, after you are from an operation room. Then he noticed I was becoming stiff. My hands were becoming stiff. Then I was not blinking. So I don't know how he noticed further that something was wrong. So he rushed. My baby was beside me in on oxygen. He rushed down to the wards, to the reception, to doctors. Something is happening. So he tells me when the doctors came, they realized I was going, like completely, someone is dying. So they started looking for oxygen mask and everything. The hospital is on a standstill. Someone is dying. But my husband tells me after like 10 minutes, doctors trying to pump me to come back to life, because whatever they told me the case had happened, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But my husband pulled out the oxygen mask for my baby. My baby's name Gift. And that's how he got that name, because he gifted me life. My husband said, my ex-husband tells me that it was better for him to lose a child because there was hope of us giving birth again than to lose me. He got the oxygen when the doctors were busy trying to get everything fixed. He removed the oxygen mask from the child and put it to me and held it for like 10 minutes. He was holding it for a few minutes before I was up. So as if that was not enough, time passed and everything. I was on oxygen for at least a day before I came back to now breathing on my own. They told me what had happened, and I decided to name. I had a name that I had purpose to give my kid, but God told me to just remember how that kid had gifted me life. And I named him Gift. And every time I see my baby, he reminds me of that episode. Again, time passed, 2023, I was pregnant. It is in April that I went again into an emergency cesarean. This time I gave birth in 7 months. Sinai does not have neonatal services. Same thing to my first baby. That kid survived without being in an incubator, an 8-month-old baby. But for him, it was 2.7 kg. But this one, I remember on 25th, after various in and out of hospital episodes, the hospital decided we better save you because this baby might kill you, how things were going. So we went into an emergency cesarean section again. I gave birth to a 1.3 kg baby. The baby was so tiny, like my hand is even longer. The baby was so tiny that you could not tell, I couldn't tell where the hair was supposed to be. I couldn't tell if his nose will ever become a normal nose. Like, the features were so tiny. The features were so tiny. And I remember immediately I gave birth, I didn't see my baby until 2 weeks later, because the baby was taken to a hospital in Nairobi West called Meridian Hospital. My husband and my sister took my kid there. So I remained in Sinai to heal first, because even the cesarean wasn't getting better. It was so painful than any other cesarean I've ever had. So remember, this was my 3rd CS. So when I became a bit healthy enough to go to the hospital, so for the first day we went and saw the baby in the hospital, I cried. I cried so much because I'd realized that this baby reminded me of the first child, and I saw death because the other one was not in an incubator, but the first baby who died was in an incubator. So when I saw that baby, something was just telling me, Viola, you're going to lose this baby again. I couldn't pray. Let me not lie to you that I had the strength to pray. That was that moment that I couldn't tell God anything. I couldn't even afford to say thank you. It was not anywhere in my memory. The only thing that was running in my mind was death. I saw this baby and was like, I couldn't even hold the baby. But later in the evening, I gained courage. I started they call it kangaroo style. You put the baby inside your chest for warmth. So after like 2 weeks of being there, the baby was like 1.9 kg, 1.7. And I realized my insurance was running over and I needed to start topping cash. And funny enough, I had not added the baby on NHIF. So any money that was any bill that was accruing would be paid in cash. I told the doctors that if the baby is, I remember the nurses giving me survival stories of baby who were like a fawn and they went home, they were very tiny. when they were 1.8, the babies went home and they were doing well. So I gathered strength and said, let us take the baby home. So I took the baby home here in Rongai. We stayed for a week. Then the following the eighth day, I wake up one morning. A church member, a lady I wasn't speaking to, sends me a WhatsApp message of a song and tell me, please listen to this song from Patrick Kabuya. It's called Anaminyi. So I listened to that song the whole day, and I couldn't get the gesture, why did you send it to me? But it was just like, to me, it was maybe because I'd given birth and it was a preterm, so she was just wishing me like to have faith. So that day, I remember I couldn't receive visitors because the environment, the baby needed a very special environment. So the baby was always in my room. So this day my sister comes. I didn't have a nanny. So my sister came, who lives around, came and told me she caught me listening to that song. So she tells me, Abu Wekai song. We started listening to gospel songs and those encouraging and thanksgiving songs. But in the room, since morning, I'd only given my baby milk like twice, and the baby was not taking milk the way he's supposed to, but there was nothing alarming. So the baby kept sleeping the whole day, from 10 when I woke up until around 2 when my sister was about to leave. Every time I went to the room, the baby was sleeping, no crying, nothing. So me, I was comfortable, the baby was sleeping. So when my sister left, my younger brother came in. I remember we used to have a shop, so we used to work at that shop. So when my brother came in, I told him to make tea for me. When he was doing the tea, I went to the room to check up on the baby. So when I carried the baby, I realized the baby was lighter. So my heart started beating, but I was like, ile tu kushtuka. So when I carried the baby, I realized, hey, he's just like the hands that you can just raise and they drop down immediately. There's no sign of energy. The baby was not even crying or even opened the eyes. So I remember the nurse had told me when the baby sleeps a lot, I try to feel like I'm pinching. So I tried to pinch, no response. I removed the diaper. I saw very yellow, small urine. Then I tried to move the legs. I realized there was no life. Like, there's something amiss. So my heart is beating at that point. So I call my brother, Wilton, Abu kuja. My brother comes, namwambia, Abu, try holding this baby. Is there any, like, anapumua? Because me, I'd already tried checking if the baby is breathing. I realized the baby is not breathing. When my brother told me, mi sioni dalili, it now dawned on me that things are not okay. I called my mom. I couldn't even have the energy. My brother called my mom and told her, call Rosie, mtoto wa Viola Nekesa ako na shida. So my sister, who lives just a few meters from me, takes a motorbike, anauliza Viola ni nini? Namwambia nyie Abu kujeni, mtoi ameenda. And that's the same thing I told my mom. Mtoto ameenda, the baby has died. Anambia wacha jokes, the baby was just fine. Mtoto ameenda, I didn't want to listen to anything. Like, ni nini na happen, hapana, naambia tu mtoto ameenda. Because the thing that made me say that, and I remember I was saying it in tears, because I turned the baby, nika notice the green veins I could see. And I remembered the first child. The signs of death were, he was yellow. I could see this baby is very yellow on the face and the green veins. I remember I carried, before my sister could reach my place, I carried this baby outside. Nikiwa bila towels. It was only the baby's clothes that he was wearing. And I was screaming at the top of my voice because we were living on this flat, and we were staying on the ground floor. Calling my neighbor. My husband was not around. So I was calling my neighbors. And there was this neighbor of ours who had a vehicle. So I was telling him, kuja mnipeleke hosi mtoto wangu anakufa. The same time, this lady had sent me that song, knocks on the gate, wamefungua gate, wamekuja with a certain boy that they were coming to pray. They dropped whatever they had brought, took the baby in. Me, I was busy screaming outside, telling this guy to bring the keys. They take me to the hospital. I didn't know that even my brother had called my husband to tell him something that was happening. And luckily, my husband is someone who's also into politics. He doesn't pick his phone when he's in meetings. That day, the first call, he picked and said, I was actually here in Rongai at Siron. Let me come. It didn't even take 2 minutes, was already there. Everyone is outside, the whole compound, my neighbors, what is happening? So that same motorbike that my husband came with, hatukungoja gari. We took the baby, covered with the blanket on the motorbike. And remember, I had CS that was still healing, very fresh wound. I'm telling you, we were on that motorbike from around, it's there around Tuskys, with that motorbike to Sinai Hospital. I jumped from that motorbike with that baby, rushed in. I didn't care who was, I think people thought I was mad. When we rushed to that room, doctor's room, and I threw the baby on the bed, nikaambia daktari, and we ashaenda. My baby is going, do something. I remember the doctors wakimtoa manguo akamwambia, I think even the doctor had seen that this one is dead. Because the way he just removed the clothes and tried to get the pulse, I think he read the pulse was not there. And the baby was still tiny, that he was being pumped with the pumps because of how tiny the baby was. At 1.7, that's like nyama kilo moja na nusu. How small it is, there's no weight. So the doctor is asking me, nini imefanyika, nini, people are now, my family has come, my sisters, they're outside. Some of the church members are already there. My husband is there, nini imefanyika. I can't explain. Mami sijui, nimempata hivi. Ulikuwa umempatia chakula, I can't even explain. So I remember the doctor telling me that if I can give them space, because now my husband was feeling like I was creating a negative energy. It's true, because I wasn't speaking anything positive. I'd lost hope, because whatever was in my mind, the baby had gone, just like the first baby. That was all I could remember. And I could see them bringing mask, oxygen mask, bringing the heater. Another doctor came in. At this point, I was seated outside in Kasama. Let me get in. So when I was in, I could see they really pumped that baby. They really pumped that baby that he turned pink at the chest, the pumping and everything. Then when the doctor put on the oxygen, I don't know what it happened, but it was only God. The oxygen level at 39, meaning there was breath, but it was very, very far. I don't know the injections they gave that baby, but the doctors, I usually see that doctor till now, and I'm so grateful. Because every time we bump into each other in that hospital, he reminds me of what he did. They pumped that baby until the oxygens got to 50. And we were put on the ambulance to, they told us, you have to go to Gertrude's, the children's hospital. It cannot be a normal hospital. It needs specialist. And we got to the ambulance around 8 p.m. I remember by the time we got to the hospital, it was 3:30. So we had stayed that long. People were praying. The hospital had turned into a prayer house. People were praying. And I usually say those were the prayers that resuscitated that baby. So we stayed in Gertrude's for a while, like a month plus. And I can confidently say the baby is now turning 2 years next week. And I've never been that grateful. But every time, that was 2023. Last year, April, I lost my job. We had retrenchment and I lost my job. So you can imagine from 2017, I've never had an April month that was good. And this year, one of my prayers was that April to be kind. When I was writing down 300 things I wanted God to do for me this year, it's on my list. If I'd carried that book, you'll see. April, be kind to me. That was my prayer. So I'll say Viola has gone through the thickest and the thinnest things that I don't even have the energy to cry anymore. I think I stopped crying because I realized I cannot win any battle through tears. Nowadays I only pray, maybe when I'm deep into prayer, soaked in, that I'll find myself I cried without even me knowing the emotion of it. But when it comes to these challenges of life, there's nothing that I've not seen. I got divorced last year. We had a divorce. And the reason as to why you see me saying my babies are staying with my parents, it's because the divorce was so much. Being married this would have been the 6th year of my marriage. Then things just go left, or is it right? Things went left, and it wasn't suitable for us to be together anymore. So we opted for a divorce, and I decided to stay with the kids because my firstborn is 5 years. This one was, by the time I took him to my mom, he was around 1.7 months, very tiny. He still needs me. And remember, this was the preterm baby. He was still very small. Actually, he's learning to speak. He has not even, the first word my mom told me the other day he mentioned was kuka, calling my father, because many things about him delayed. He worked late and everything. So he needed me more than he could have stayed with my parents. But so many times, Sinai has records of me. A couple of times I've been rushed in because of suicide. I'd tried to commit suicide a couple of times, took some drugs and everything. So me being comfortable under their care is because they've seen me go through things. They've resuscitated me so many times because of suicidal attempts. And funny enough is that this year, when the year was just beginning, there was so much that was going on. When I took my kids last year to my parents, and because I wasn't in a position to stay with them, I was bitter. I was still angry with myself and everything that has happened. So I wasn't in a position to stay with my kids. And my parents offered to, they were like, you can't do this alone. Just bring the kids. I know you'll miss them. I know they're still very small. And we were so attached, but we had to be separated because they could give them the best what I couldn't offer. So that last week before the incident happened, sometimes, okay, I'd sunk into depression. I went for therapy. I had therapy sessions. Like I had about 6 sessions for therapy just to get myself together. Because remember, after taking the kids home, I was staying alone. So many times I would go into the room, take this like 10 Piriton tablets, because I felt like I've betrayed so many people. I've betrayed my family, because I usually see my dad, like they had so much hopes in me. I told you I studied media, and during my attachment process, I was really thriving back then. After that incident, when I lost my child in 2017, before that, and even after recovering, I went back to media and I was really thriving. I used to go to those press briefings, take pictures with the who is who. So I was really doing well, and they had so much hope in me. But now, me contemplating and deciding that I walk out of my marriage. And I'll say, my husband is a pastor right now. It was the hardest decision we had to make. I would say both on our ends, because the church is there. They know people are supposed to be together. But we had to put everything aside and just decide. It was, for me, that was what I could say. For me, that was what could have worked, because it had reached a point where I felt like, what if I commit suicide in this house? I wanted to commit suicide in that house. But I don't know what kept stopping me, because even the other suicide attempts, it was when I was still in that house, married. But now this year, after battling depression and going back, I had gotten a job and I was working. Last week, like the incident happened last week, but one before the incident, everything flashed back. Everything flashed back from the 2017 episode to betrayals I've done, that I've had. And even me going back to work, I had to start from again zero where I'd started previously. So I felt like I was ashamed of my own self, because now I'm going back to a company that I was there previous almost 4 years, doing very successful. Then you go back and find that your peers or the people, your colleagues have been promoted, people are working, people are driving. Then you're going back to start from that position that you had even left for another better position. You see, the minute you get greener pastures and you move, then now you're coming back to start from where you had left. It was really hard for me, because every time I was meeting people, I don't know if colleagues or friends noticed, those who are close might have noticed that I never wanted to speak about it, because I felt like I've failed. As a person, I'd failed my parents, because sometimes bills, debts were all over, and I would call my parents to help me sort bills. they're staying with my kids, but I'll even ask them for rent, and yet I'm working. Because after the babies episode, remember when we went back to Gertrude's, we paid cash at some point, and it was really huge amount of money. So we had a lot of debts. And at this point, my husband was not working. So I had to take loans, I had to take money, I had to borrow for us to settle hospital bills. So going back to work, for me, it was not even a solution. It was a form of distraction. And I even thank God that the company felt it because of my good standings that they took me back. Because I know how hard it is when you leave a company and you're coming back with no extra qualification, or there's nothing exciting that you have achieved. You're only bringing back maybe experiences and maybe skills you have learned from your other job. So I remember how many times I used to beg just to get this job back. But this day that depression started, I had a lot of stress. And I told my parents just beginning of this April. Actually, because this incident happened last week, so it's just the beginning of this April, that I started having bad feelings. I told you earlier that I used to get in a matatu and feel like this matatu is going to get an accident. There's a day, remember, I was even going to work and I lighted a stage. I didn't even wait to go to town to get a matatu to Westlands. I highlighted at Bomas because something strong was telling me this matatu was going to get an accident. So the accident scene has been in my mind for so long, like 2 weeks. I would say last week was the second week. So I knew something was just telling me. I didn't even remember we were in April, for me to remember that April is usually that month. But I could try praying. Sometimes I'll wake up and I could not pray. I've always set my alarm at 2:56 a.m. in the morning so that I can wake up those 4 minutes, prepare to pray. So it's something I was doing from the beginning of the year. But beginning of the month, I just failed. Actually, if I could show my phone, is that I removed it when the month began, waking up at 3 to pray. Because I just felt I couldn't pray, I couldn't do anything. So the whole week, I blocked my parents, my family on my phone, on WhatsApp. I blocked them. I don't know what happened. There's a day I'd called my family and I was just lamenting and quarreling over the phone, telling them I feel disappointed. There's no reason for me to continue living. So I told them so much that after that call, I didn't even finish the call. I cut the call and blocked my mom on call, on WhatsApp, on text. I didn't block my dad, but I blocked my sisters, my brothers. And I had reduced my contacts from the mini contacts I had, about 700 contacts, to 15. I have a friend I was just on this, here in Rongai, that I usually go and buy my clothes from most of the time. And there's this day I'd come from the office and I was showing him I had only 15 contacts. And I didn't even know why those 15 were still on my phone. That week, this April, I'd even gone to Facebook, deleted most of my pictures. And something was telling me to close my Facebook account. I don't know why I never closed it. But that night I would have closed that Facebook account. I remember I even went to TikTok, deleted some images. I just felt like I'm now going to end my life. I wanted to end my life so badly. So I remember I texted, my dad was calling and I wasn't picking. And I unblocked my mom. No, when you block someone, you can still text them, but they can't text you back. So I sent a message to my mom. I still have those messages. And I told her, when I die, please bury me next to my kid. And always be waking up in the morning and be wiping my grave. And I told her to bury me in a white casket. I told her I've decided to end it because there's nothing worth living for. And I told her to make sure they take care of my kids and not allow anyone get my kids. I still have that message till now. And when I've been seeing that message, I was like, why was I even writing this? I don't know. I wrote those messages for the past, I don't know, my pastor noticed I was going to a new church and they noticed I've not been in church for 3 Sundays. So that's When I was writing those messages, I wrote it, sent it to my mom. And that's when my dad started calling. I didn't pick the phone. I put my phone on flight mode. At around 11 p.m., midnight, all this time I had not slept. So I went to the kitchen. I love chapati so much. So something told me before I die, I cook chapo. At 11 p.m., I got the chapati flour, made 4 chapatis. Actually, I realized I'd made more duff than what I wanted. So I made 4 chapatis, which I only ate one at that night. So my aim was to, I remember I made chapo with, I had bean stew in my fridge. I warmed the beans and made 4 chapatis, sat on that sitting room, listening to this song. There's another gospel song that I love so much, and I don't even know why I decided to play that song. Because to me, I had gotten a book that I wanted to write everything that I wanted to write on that book before I end everything. So after eating, when I was drinking this water and listening to that music, something told me to on my phone because I knew it was almost midnight. By this time, it was around 12 something, past midnight. So I decided to put my phone on. When I put my phone on, there was a call that came in immediately. And this woman is my sister's neighbor. She's not even someone we are close to. I don't know how my mom managed to even call my sister. Maybe because, I don't know, they thought maybe something had already happened to me. So when I put my phone on, this woman's call came in and she was telling me, Viola, ni nini mbaya? Ni nini tu mbaya? No, sifai kwa nakupigia, but your mama amenipigia, she's crying, ananiambia umemtumia message ingine, hata ajui aseme nini, hadi saa hii bado hajalala, like kila mtu anapiga simu yako, hauko on. And I was even rude to her, telling her, I feel so disappointed in my life. Why are you even calling me? Why didn't you call me before I got to this point? So all this time, we spoke for like maybe 20 minutes. Once I cut that call, once we dropped the conversation, I put my phone back to charge and I was sitting on my seat with, I think, 4 packets of different medications. Because I know my house is like, I usually tell people sometimes my house is like a chemist. There's no drug you'll not find there. Because if I'm not battling this sickness, I'm given this drug. So I knew the strongest medicines. And the job I do, we interact with nurses. So every time maybe I need medication, I'll ask them what this medication, they'll tell me what to get. So I was sitting on this seat that Saturday before this whole incident. And when I opened the first sachet, there were about 5 tablets. I was opening the second sachet, that strip, when something just told me. I remembered my kid. Actually, something triggered. I remembered how I wanted my kid to survive, especially this last one, my last born. So I don't know how those episodes ran through my mind. And I was like, why didn't I then just leave these kids to die when they were coming, than bringing them, then leaving them alone? That was the only thing that kept lingering in my mind. Why would my kids become orphans? And my parents did not leave me as an orphan. Then I was like, the world will know that I failed again. My kids will not have maybe a mother. So I stopped opening those drugs, apparently. I got the energy and stopped opening them. Even the ones that had opened, I kept them on the table. So I think it started raining. I took those tablets, went through my balcony door, threw them outside. Wrote a message to my mom and told her I'm just sorry. Just told her I'm sorry. That Sunday I did not go to church. I stayed indoors. At around 9 p.m., I don't know how I was sunk into prayers. Actually, I was going through my TV and I noticed an episode. something was running on YouTube. There's this musician called Dance, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is it Dancing something? He sang some familiar songs. So there was this program, he's a Nigerian singer, gospel singer. So when I saw his name dancing and it was live, and this program was called Upper Room, it was a gospel, I think they were having a live session in a church, an event or something. Then these people are praying. I'm telling you, I wouldn't say it is anything else, but it's the Holy Spirit that took me over. I prayed for 3 hours, crying. I don't know what I was telling God. I prayed for 3 hours, telling God restoration. I wanted restoration. I prayed for so long that when I woke up from, I don't know how I moved from my seat to my carpet, because when I woke up, that place was even wet. I don't know how much I'd cried on that carpet. And remember, I've been alone all this while. I had cried so much that that place, when I touched it, it had water. I could be left with those water droplets on my hands. But one thing I remember is that a verse came to me. And that verse is what took me the whole week. Isaiah 61 throughout, that says, "Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is upon you." That is what I woke up with. I remember, because of depression, I didn't even have a Bible in my house. I don't know how I afforded, I don't know how I took my Bible out. I can't even explain, because I had 2 Bibles in my house, but till now I can't find my Bibles. I don't have any Bible, any physical Bible in my house. So I've been reading that whole verse throughout the week. Even when those episodes of accidents coming in my mind, I used to go back and just read that verse, but I wouldn't feel confirmed or fulfilled. So I don't know if God had that's why I was on that hospital bed. So many things were running in my mind after even surviving, even before the trending and everything. I was just asking myself, is it a confirmation that God has now restored, or is restoring what had been taken away? Because I'm telling you, depression to me, if I had not died all this previous time, then I was telling myself I can't die right now. Because I've had reasons to die. Actually, there's this particular time that an ambulance is the one that got me from my house, because I'd passed out after even trying to commit suicide. The drugs were so intense. I was in hospital for about 3 weeks because trying to wash and clear my system. I could wake up and go back. I couldn't even walk. So I would wake up from my bed, collapse, because there was no strength, or just end up seated somewhere because I couldn't walk. So all this time I was just asking myself on that sick bed, God, was this sickness, was it planned by you? Just to confirm that you're restoring me? Is this, whatever I was going through, an episode of confirmation that April will now have good memories? Or what are you trying to communicate to me? I've been asking myself so many questions. But now it's even different, because whenever I ask myself a question, I have many answers on my fingertips. Viola, who are you to trend? My father has been so proud of me, and even my mother, they've been so proud of me that anytime they will see a post, because we were moving from one blogger to another. You are on Tuko, you are on Pasho, you are on Nairobi, you are on so many platforms, so many social media, so many bloggers. My story was all over. My mom tells me that even the aunts and uncles who never used to call, everyone is asking. The neighbors, as for me, even colleagues not even colleagues, people I studied with in primary that I'd already forgotten. People are all over asking for me. And I'm asking myself, I'd thought I'd trend because I'd died. But how God works in mysterious ways. And if you saw that live on NTV, when I was telling, I don't know how I got emotional, I started just speaking blessings. Because I felt like when he was telling his story, and even at some point I told myself, because when the live started, I was just on my bed. So by the time I moved to put on my TV, I was watching it from my phone. So I was like, why is his story just similar to mine? So this person has been trying to commit suicide so many times. So this person has gone through, to me, at some point in my life, I felt like there was no parental care. I used to talk to my parents so harshly because I felt like they're not giving me what I want. they're not providing. There's a point I asked my mom, why did she give birth to all of us if they knew they can't give us what we want? Because my dad has been a KDF, yes, but we have struggled as kids. So everything we have learned to do it for ourselves. And I didn't know my parents were doing it for us. We have learned to find solutions for ourselves that other people would have provided for their kids. But I'm so fulfilled right now. Every time my parents call me, every time I hear my kid's voice. Actually, when I spoke to my child after I was from hospital, and it was, mom, tumekuona kwa TV. Mom, sijui shosh alisema ulikuwa unaumwa kichwa yako imepoa. Mom, sorry. I feel so fulfilled. Like, are these the kids I would have left behind for someone else to take care of them? Are these the kids that would have washed my dead body? So I'm so grateful to God. It is my lowest when I was not giving, when I was not even going to that church, when I decided not to pray, not to see the positive side of life, that God perfected himself in me. If someone would have told me that day I would wake up and kitu ifanyike, or even from my family. You know, one prayer I did that night when I wanted to kill myself, in the midst of that heaviness of prayer, that I will tell you, heaviness of prayer dawned on me. I prayed like I've never prayed before. I prayed. And I was telling God, generation ya Wanjala, who is my father, isiishe hivyo. Because my father's 38 years of being in the army. There's nothing to celebrate about us. I was seeing that way. There was nothing to celebrate. But to me right now, my father is a happy soul. My mother is a happy soul. Not because I trended, but because I trended for the right reasons. Like the gratitude part of it. So many people, mimi ni moja wale 10. Walitibiwa, moja ndiye alirudi akasema asante. I'm proud that mimi nilikuwa available kusema asante. And when God wanted to elevate even Telvin, I was available. When God wanted to change his story. And no wonder people are saying, hata ikuwa watu wanatuambia social media. To me, you know, people do it as comedy. And yes, I take it as part of comedy. But to me, it is his story and mine resonates 100%. There is no beat that is not resonating with my story. Hata ya juu kama niliitry kucommit suicide, ama the previous Saturday ningekuwa another different story. Ama the whole week I was seeing accidents in my way to work. No one knows. And you talked about isolation. Now, it has now become clear that sometimes tunaonanga watu wametutupa, but we don't know the reasons. It's true the devil isolates. It's very true. There was no family, there was no friends in my contacts. There was no one completely. I couldn't call, I couldn't text, because I didn't see like they understand my challenges. And let me tell you something. I'm a giver, and I won't lie to you. When I have something, I give. I know even our previous churches can attest. There's a time me and my husband decided to floor a whole church. And it's not that we're being paid well or we earn so much. Because when we get something, we do passionately. And I remember something that even the airwaves don't know, or most my friends don't know. I even have court cases going on because during that period my child was in hospital. My funds were not enough. Even the loans that I took were not enough to cover the bills. So even a friend of mine, that this person was like a school daughter to me. When they lost their parent, one of the parents, their mom, I took care of this child in school until I finished, then they finished later. So when I was going through this person was not in the country, and they decided to chip in money for me. But by the time I could pay them, I was like, let me take a loan. Last year, I was supposed to take a loan last year before I lost my job and pay this person. And apparently, I lost my job before I could pay. So this person gave me a few months to repay. I couldn't repay because I couldn't repay and I'm not working. So they decided to take me to court. I slept in Central Police Station with my child being 1 year. Last year, it was last year in July. I was in Central Police Station cell for 3 days, sleeping in that cell alone. I'm sure even some of these people from Central Police Station were the ones telling me, Mungu anakupenda. Even I was shocked that a police officer from Central would text me and tell me, Mungu, kweli uko na Mungu. Kumbe your story, hata yenye tuna handle huku, it's not supposed to be. Because my child was at home. My 1 year preterm baby who was supposed to be breastfeeding was at home, but was inside the cell. Reason, I've not paid. someone's money and still even have a court case going on. But to me, when I was thinking about all this the other day, I was like, even that judge, I'm sure they've seen this story. Even that my friend, the person I took care of in school, doing shopping for them, making sure they have uniform. Wherever they are, even when they watch this story, they'll know that it's really God who plans and just wants people to go through a certain season. But I'm just happy I came out victorious.